Hi guys, it's Nancy and I have another card tutorial video featuring the new release from Catherine Pooler Designs for May 2022. And this card is featuring a galaxy background. There is a beautiful paper pack, but if you wanted to create your own, it's very easy to do. And we are going to be using the stargazing stamps and the stargazing dies, and also the Oslo sequins, as well as some embossing powders. We're going to be using the Golden Glow embossing powder and the Disco Ball embossing powder and a variety of inks. So let's get into it. So the first thing is you want a piece of that ultra smooth Catherine Pooler cardstock. This is cut down to 5.5 by 4 1/4. And I'm going to start with my lightest colors, and you can use your blending brushes or you can use your ink blending tools. It really doesn't matter. I like the blending tools because I think that it gives a darker impression. I'm going to use a little bit of glitz here, just a little bit of yellow ink. And your blending does not have to be super perfect here because most of it's going to be, you know, it's a galaxy background, so it's going to be covered up. So that's all I'm going to use for the glitz, just little highlights of yellow there. Actually, I wanted one more in the middle and I forgot, but that's okay. Okay, I think the brushes give you a more subtle inking and the blending tools give you a little bit darker. All right, so then I'm going to come in with some Dress Blues and Glam. So Dress Blues is a nice dark navy. I have my blending tools here, but I didn't swatch which one was blue and which one was purple. Okay, I got it. So I'm just going to grab some of that. Okay, nice and saturated. Then I'm going to bring in my Glam, which is really dark purple. Okay, so make this a little darker. Then we're going to bring in some Midnight, which is the black, super dark black ink. And for that, I'm really just kind of going to go around the edges with that. And it's going to give you this vignette look, which is just bringing your eyes to the center. Now, a little bit of this black ink goes a long way, so you don't need a lot. Now, if you feel like you want to add some darker spots of color, you can, but we still want some of that purple and blue and yellow to peek through a little bit. Okay. All right, and now at this point, we kind of want to just set this aside just to let those inks dry. So while they're doing that, we're going to clean this mess up. A lot of ink on that mat, but it makes it really easy to clean that up. I just use a microfiber towel and a little bit of cleaner. Okay, and for the next part, we're going to do some stamping. So I'm just going to bring in scrap piece of paper here, and I'm going to use the Blackjack ink because it's a really dark gray ink. And I'm going to we're going to stamp out the moon, and we're going to die cut it. Now, you have a choice to stamp out multiple images and die cut them. I think I will just do a couple extra here. Do a couple of the shooting stars. Okay, and then from here, what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of embossing powder. So you want to use your embossing pen, Wow embossing pen, and you want to give this ink a moment just to set in place. You want it to dry. And you're just going to color in those images with your pen. And this ink stays quite sticky for a while, so you don't need to rush. Okay. And I'm going to bring my coffee filter in. And these images, I'm going to use the disco ball embossing powder. Okay, so everything gets nice and glittery. I'm going to put that away. And we're going to bring our heat tool in, and we're going to melt this and set it. Okay, and that does not take very long at all to set. All right, and then from here, we're going to set up to cut these out. Just going to use a little bit of washi tape to hold my dies in place. is that the big one and this is the small one? Okay. Okay, now we're going to run this through Gemini Junior. Alright, so before we glue everything down, there's a couple of other things we want to do quick. One of them is to make stars. Now you can take a shimmer pen, you can take watercolors, you can take pretty much anything. I'm going to take a little bit of my blue blender here and just kind of clean up my blending here. It looks a little sloppy, so I'm just going to smooth some of that out. All right, so now we're going to take a splatter box, and again, you can take any kind of shimmer pen, any white, opaque, acrylic ink, gouache, whatever you have. I'm going to use a little bit of Copic opaque white, and I'm going to take just a thin plastic stamping block, and I'm going to grab a very little of this on an old paintbrush. Just a little dab of it. You do not need a lot. That's probably too much. Then I'm going to grab water. And I'm just going to spray this down. Okay. And I'm going to use my paintbrush to really thin it out. And again, you can do this with acrylic paint. If you have those opalescent watercolors, those are really pretty. Okay, and then from a high up, I'm going to splat onto my paper. Okay, the closer you are, the bigger your drops are going to be. The further away you are, the less you're going to have. Okay, and we're going to give that a second to set into place. While that's setting into place, I'm going to grab a paper towel and clean this up. And that's all I do is just use a little water, paper towel, and wipe it dry. Okay, so the same thing with the paintbrush. Just gonna spray some water down. Dab the paintbrush into it and just clean that off with the paper towel. Nothing too special hard to clean that up. Okay? All right, so now this is going to start to soak into the paper pretty quickly. It's going to start to dry. We're going to accelerate that by using the heat tool. Okay, and we want to make sure that this is perfectly dry before we move on to the next step. Okay, so from here, now you can decide to stamp and die cut or directly stamp. I did directly stamp my sentiment on here. Personal preference on what you want to do. So we've already got these guys stamped, heat embossed, die cut. They look great, but I want to do a little bit more to this panel. So where this light area is where I'm going to add my sentiment. Shine Like the Stars, I think, is the one I'm going to use. Okay, and then I want to heat emboss the rest of this. So I'm going to take my anti-static tool. Prime that a little bit. And I'm going to use the Wow Embossing ink pad. And I'm going to stamp some of those stars and constellations on my page here. So I want this constellation. Grab some stars. And there's all different ones, so you can stamp as many as you want. Okay, I am also at this point going to stamp my sentiment, and I'm going to use that same blackjack ink for my sentiment. I'm going to put that right in the middle here that says Shine Like the Stars, and that's why I wanted this area to be kind of lighter, because I wanted that to show up. Okay, so that looks good. And now we're going to heat emboss all of those little stars that we just stamped out and constellations with the Golden Glow embossing powder. Okay, that looks pretty good. So we're going to bring our heat gun to that. now it's just about adding our embellishments. So I have this fun galaxy background. You could certainly just leave it like that, using the ink colors to ink blend it on that beautifully smooth paper. We added the white kind of stars, and then we've heat embossed some of those constellations and stars on there. And now we're just going to add these guys on. And these just going to add some glue, and we'll add some sequins. I'm going to add our sequins. And now we're just going to attach all this to our card front. And I picked a black card front just because it's, you know, galaxy looking. Oh, this one was cut down to 5 1/4 by 4. I thought it was 5 1/2. It's cut down. That's okay. That's not going to matter. And there we have our fun galaxy card using the brand new release from Catherine Pooler Designs. And again, this is part of the May 2022 release. Stamp Nation members will get it a day before the general public. I'll have all of the information down in the description box for you. If you have any questions, post it in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing. Make sure you keep an eye out because I have another card tutorial coming out, which actually shows you how to make a shaker card, and this one lights up. So, made that with almost all of the same products, but I added in the 6x6 paper pack. So you'll want to check that video out as well. Make sure you're subscribed. Click that thumbs up and the bell so that you get notifications. Thanks for watching, guys, and keep on stamping. Bye-bye.